don't know about you, but at this time of year, after a lovely winter walk, all you want is a nice warm drink. So in this brand new show, we're going to take you to 12 different destinations. We're in search of the perfect cup of tea, so we're going to visit tea shops all across our county, and you're coming with us. Along the way, we shall sample copious amounts of tea and cake. But why are we doing this? To see if anyone serves the perfect tea and scones, of course. Yes, folks, we are back. It's time for another cup of tea, and today, would you believe it, we know that we're going to get a scone. So we're going to be able to make a comparison between month one, when we went to the lovely Cuppa's, with, do you remember, there was 5 choices of jam and cream and everything, it was gorgeous. Month 2, we couldn't get a scone, could we? We had to have a cake, which was still absolutely gorgeous. And we are concerned today because the standard has been set so high. After spending our time in large chain cafes for really the last 10 years, we've been to 2 independent cafes and they've both been exceptional. Will the standard be upheld by today's place? And where is it that we're going today? Well, it's here. This is Origins. Would you believe it? It's like it sells home decorations and all sorts and all things for the house, but it's also a coffee shop. How do you think this scone looks?
Get them so good.
Yeah, I think so too.
£1.70.
So you can put it now.
Looks like a good cuppa actually.
Strong.
Strong.
That's very strong, isn't it?
Wow. I like it strong.
No criticism. Because it was squirty cream.
But you wouldn't have cream on a scone in the morning, I don't think, anyway, would you? It's an afternoon.
You're a legend.
What?
That's just a legendary thing to say.
Well, you wouldn't, would you?
That's as crazy as anything I've ever said. You wouldn't have cream on a scone in the morning.
No, it's a bit rich for a morning.
That was my point with regards to a lemon tart.
Well, I don't know. That's not creamy, is it?
It's I find the crusts rich.
I wonder what flavour jam it is.
So it better be raspberry, or is it strawberry?
I don't know.
It's really nice. It's as nice a peppermint tea as I've had, to be honest.
Oh, cool.
It's nice and fresh, which is good. We're back! Yes, it's time for us to discuss the Origins Coffee House. Why do they do that? Why do they say coffee house? Because everyone I saw in there was drinking tea. Yes, there was a coffee there and it did look very good. You could tell by what's left. I always think, well, I don't think I know. You can tell by what's left of the crema if it's a decent coffee house or not.
Yeah,
and it
looked good.
It did look good. It did look good. So, Origins Coffee House in a street where we've never gone for a tea or a coffee before.
No, it's kind of like the posh bit of town, isn't it?
We don't go there.
We walk down it
all the time.
All the time.
And there's some really old buildings on it.
There's some really old buildings.
There's that billiard.
Yeah.
1907 that was, and it's a lovely, lovely building.
Yeah.
And then also as well, we could spy a coaching entrance to what will have been an old hotel.
I think it must have been a hotel. It's now a variety of things.
Yeah.
It's a huge building.
I
think it's like offices and then there's a restaurant and yeah.
Yeah. But we're here to talk about tea and cake.
Yes.
So I think we should start. I mean, let's start with the service.
The service was excellent.
Yeah, it was.
2 very, very friendly ladies in there.
It absolutely was. I mean, a lot friendlier.
A lot friendlier than the last place.
Farfano's. Equally as friendly as the first one that we went to.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it probably does. It seemed like a more genuine friendliness.
It did.
Which is very good.
They were very lovely. We had a discussion about all of the kind of pastry things that they had, and they had a really good selection.
Yeah.
I spotted one that it's kind of like a custard tart, but it's Portuguese.
Yeah.
And I'd seen it made on a programme. I can't remember
I've
what
seen
it
them
was.
too. Maybe it's something that we watched together, because I've definitely, you know, I've recognised those cakes too.
Do you know
but
what
they
it
were
was
all.
on?
They
I
were
know
all
what
lovely
it was
cakes.
on.
What was it on?
It was on the Hairy Bikers.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Well,
no, it wasn't the Hairy Bikers. It was the Railway Man.
Oh well, there you go then.
It was Michael Portillo.
There you go.
Yeah, and it's like a baked custard tart in like a puff pastry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But we didn't have that.
We didn't have that.
We
had a scone.
Because that is the rules.
Yeah.
We stick to the rules, don't we, people? Granted, last time we couldn't have a scone because they didn't have scones. But this time they most certainly did have a scone. Yeah. She nearly gave us a cheese scone, which I would have left if they'd made us eat the cheese scone.
I know a lot of people love cheese scones.
But what do you have it with? Because a cheese
scone... Just butter.
No, I know that.
Oh.
I was meaning the drink. Because tea and a cheese scone, to me, just seems... Do you know what I mean?
Scone.
A cheese scone and a cup of tea? No.
It's savoury, isn't it? You have something sweet with it. Yeah, I don't get cheese scones. Your savoury scones. But I know your mum...
Do you have cheese sponge?
Does Grandpa Steve have cheese scones?
He has cheese straws. He likes cheese straws.
That's just
do you know what
pastry.
I mean?
That's
well,
terrible.
it is. But do you know what I mean? It just seems totally wrong to me to make a savoury scone. It's a cake.
I do wonder when would you have that?
And I say again, what would you drink with it? Because a cup of tea wouldn't work with it.
A cup of tea with cheese.
Coffee, that's even weirder. Peppermint, maybe.
Peppermint might work with it.
Yeah.
It's an
clean.
odd concept, isn't it, a savoury scone?
So she tried to give us a savoury scone and we very quickly corrected her.
Oh no, a fruit one please. And she offered to toast the scone.
Excellent.
Never had that
Gold
offer
star
before.
for that, most definitely.
Yeah, toasted scones are delicious. But I like, if it's a fresh scone, then, I would eat it as it was. If it's a day old, then I would toast it. And it really revives it. And they're absolutely delicious toasted scones.
Mm. So I suppose it has to be a star for service.
Yes, definitely.
So 1 star, they're doing well. Tea.
I had just normal English tea, English breakfast tea, and you had a peppermint.
I did.
And they came in very kind of posh teapots, which were glass.
Yes.
And the downside to those was that both of the teapots had chips on the spout.
Yes.
And that must just be a nightmare for washing up. You catch it a tiny bit and it's going to break, which it obviously did. Didn't affect the pouring ability or anything like that, but if it was my cafe,
you'd have moved on.
I wouldn't want to use a chipped teapot, I don't think.
So I think that the chipped teapot does need to be discussed in the cleanliness section, because chips.
Well, they always say
attach.
Chips. Yeah,
that's
true.
I think unfortunately.
I don't know if that's the case with glass though so much.
But the fact remains,
because ceramic is porous, isn't it? And I think that's the point. Whereas glass isn't. So I don't.
But the fact remains, you wouldn't keep that.
I wouldn't have kept it. No, but it's obviously a costly thing to throw away teapots.
So
I would change the teapots.
Yeah. Don't use the same teapots. But we'll talk about that in cleanliness. Let's focus on the tea and the taste of the tea.
My tea was absolutely delicious. It was a lovely strong cup of tea. It was proper leaf tea.
And mine also.
And it was lovely.
Mine was really nice. I mean, the challenge with this whole thing is, and I did actually watch the last episode before we went, just to try and give myself a baseline. For you to effectively compare, you really need to go in
one after the other.
Across. You'd be so sick of it, wouldn't you?
Another tea.
It'd be like 2 weeks worth of teas. So it's just impossible. So I did really like it. But I just have a feeling, I think I liked Fafano's more, the tea.
Oh, right. The actual taste of the tea.
Yeah, I think I did.
I would say that the one I had was on a par with the one at Fafano's.
So, there was certainly nothing to dislike about the tea. No. So it has to have a star.
Yeah.
The cake.
The scone was lovely, wasn't it? We shared one this time. Didn't want to fall down that trap of getting overfaced by the scone. The scone
was absolutely lovely.
It wasn't as nice as the first one we had.
No, it wasn't.
No.
It wasn't, and also the jam was fine.
The jam was nice.
Was it homemade, and did we have a choice of 5?
No, it wasn't homemade, and no, we didn't have a choice. We just got given it, but it was very nice. It was in like a little sealed container. It wasn't a jar.
You see, my question to you is, there has to be a standard, doesn't there?
Yeah.
And, did the first place we go to set the standard? But what's it called? I forget what it's called now.
Yeah.
Is it Barkers? No. Cuppa's.
I wanted to say Pollard's.
Cuppa's. Did they set the standard? And
yeah.
Because you've just said it wasn't as good a scone as that place.
It wasn't as good a scone.
And we did not get a choice.
The one that we had the first time was enormous.
Yes.
And this one wasn't enormous, it was just a normal size scone.
So I think it then doesn't get a star.
Oh, you see, well, I disagree. I thought it was nice.
There has to be a standard though, doesn't there?
But there was nothing wrong with it. I think you're being harsh. I just think the first one was exceptional. There was nothing wrong with this scone, absolutely. Every one of you would have eaten that and said that was a lovely scone.
But the scone around the corner's better.
But you can't do that, can you? You can't not give them a star just because the other one was better.
But you see, I think the problem is we're going to end up at the end of these 12 episodes and everyone's going to have scored pretty much the same. And it's going to be difficult.
Well, but I can't not... I thought it was a lovely scone. It just wasn't as lovely as the first one, but it was still lovely.
Okay, well, you know, there's no star police, so, you know, if you want to give it a star, give it a star.
Well, I'm going to give it a star.
Okay. So they get a star for cake, even though I completely disagree and I thought it was awful. No, that's not true.
You didn't think it was awful. Well, you ate it.
There was nothing wrong with that scone. It was...
Exactly, you just said there was nothing wrong with it, so how can you not give it a star?
There's nothing wrong with that scone, but if we wanted a really nice scone... This is where we should maybe be scoring
out of 5, you see.
Yeah, no, that's true.
To say yay or nay to something is much more difficult than giving it, like...
It depends.
We would have given the first one a 5 probably, and we would have given this one maybe a 4. That's the difference for me.
Right. Well, so you want to give it a star, so
I want to give it a star.
There's absolutely no way I'm giving it a star for cleanliness. Because of the chip teapots.
Right, okay. Well, okay. Everything else, I mean, this makes it sound like it was a dump, doesn't it?
There was bits on the floor.
Were there?
Yeah.
Right, I didn't notice that.
Also, as well, when we got to the table, it hadn't been cleared.
It hadn't been cleared.
It wasn't busy.
No, that's true. It wasn't busy.
There was a pair of...
Somebody had left some gloves. You can't, that's not...
Yeah, but someone has not come round and tidied up.
No, they haven't, that's true.
So,
okay, but, you know, it was perfectly clean.
It wasn't dirty.
No.
But chipped cutlery and stuff left on the sides and, you know, unclear tables when not busy. So no star for cleanliness.
Right.
Ha-ha, I'm a winner. And then cost.
You would have all gone to this cafe and said, oh, this is lovely.
No, but there has to be...
I would have happily taken any one of you there.
There has to be a standard, doesn't there? And, you know, I would be embarrassed. Honestly, I'd feel slightly embarrassed. Imagine Nana Wendy'd come. Yeah?
Yeah.
We took her out for a cup of tea and the teapots are chipped. You'd be a bit like, oh...
Well, if it was the Queen, I'd agree.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, I mean, it depends who it was. I mean, it wasn't very good that the teapots were chipped. No. Because it was right on the spout.
I think it comes down to a simple thing. Could you have served that tea in those teapots?
I wouldn't have served from a
So no star?
No, a chipped spout teapot. No, I wouldn't have done that.
No star in cleanliness. On to cost.
Cost. We had...
Now, we've already had quite a heated debate on this.
Oh, we have. We had, you know, a pot of tea for me, a pot of tea for Dan, and a scone. And it was £6.70. I think that is okay.
And the tea, the exact same order, except it wasn't a scone, it was a much nicer cake.
Was just under £5 of Fafano's. But the difference is, Origins is in, it's on the posh street of town, it's in a very nice shop, it's part of like a home furnishing sort of shop, which is a posh home furnishing shop. And Fafano's is above a market. It's above the market in town.
I'm with you all the way.
That's the difference.
Bottom line is...
It's the type of people that go, you know, people who shop in the market, certainly in Darlington, are not going to then go and have a cup of tea on Grange Road. No,
that's absolutely true. And it was perfectly reasonable, so it should definitely get a star because it wasn't expensive.
Yeah.
But
Fafano's was dirt cheap, and that's the difference. Fafano's was too cheap.
Yeah, you see, you talk about Grange Road as if it's this lovely place to be. If I was to take Origins and I was to stick it where Fafano's is, and there was an Origins on Grange Road, so you've got two Origins, exactly the same setting, which one would you go to? Would you go to Grange Road or would you go to the market setting?
I would have gone to the market one.
So I think that creates an interesting point.
It's only because
Grange Road is not that nice.
No, well, no. But the internals of Origins was much nicer than Fafano's.
Yeah, Fafano's was tired.
It was very tired and a bit grubby.
Perhaps if they put their prices up,
they could afford
to
renovate
to sort out
it.
their...
Well, absolutely, yeah.
And when you consider,
but you see, I don't think the people that go in there will be.
When you walk down the street and you look at all the chain Costas and your Neros and all of those, everyone goes into those places.
Well, they
everyone
do, but
does.
I would go into...
And they pay a lot more. My point is they pay a lot more for a cup of tea, for a cup of coffee and a cake there.
Yeah.
So I think people would pay.
And they're not
I think Fafano's... They're not as good. They're terrible.
No.
We're proving. So far we've now been to 3 independent tea and coffee shops, and they're all in a different league.
To
Costa, Starbucks, all of them.
Yeah, we used to have a Starbucks in our town, and it's closed. It closed a few months ago.
It's in the wrong place, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, it was in the wrong place. We did used to go in, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it was always busy.
Yeah.
It was always busy. But we've now got a Costa Coffee, and we've got a Nero's.
Yeah.
And we've been into both of those a few times, and they're not as good. And they're like nondescript, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, you could walk into one of those and you could be anywhere in the country because they're just all the same.
And I think what makes me laugh is they pass themselves off as being baristas.
Yeah.
Well, I've only ever been into one Costa that served decent coffee, and it was exceptional. That was in Northallerton, and I went up and I told her.
You told her,
yeah. It's always the same. The coffee's burnt, it's not properly prepared, and I make it better at home. And what we've seen, I mean, I'm not convinced that Cuppa's... Oh no, did I have one?
You did have a coffee in there.
It was brilliant, wasn't it?
I don't remember what you said.
It was good.
Did you did have a coffee in there.
It was good.
I think you said it was all right.
It was. Yeah. It was. I had no problem with it, and it was better than... And I'm certain that Fafano's coffee would be good, because they're Italian.
He's an Italian. He was an Italian that served
us. And they look like they're...
You should have tried one. I said to him at the time, go back in. You should have one.
We'll go back in and we'll have one.
Right.
We'll do it, because, you know...
Hope she's not miserable again.
But she cheered up towards the end.
It's because she was closing, I think.
Yeah,
we'll have to go in the morning, and maybe she'll be a bit happier in the morning. Yeah.
But cost, it gets a start.
Yes.
So, in summary, Origins gets 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
And I think...
You would all really like it, because it's quite a girly place. I think it's quite a girly place.
I wasn't out of place.
No, I'm not saying you were, but you're very good. Yeah, I mean, obviously you're a man, but you know, you're not a
Not a man's man.
You're not a man's man.
I'm not a man's man.
Well, you're not, are you? Really, let's be honest. You know, you don't watch football. You don't go drinking beer. No. These are all the typical sort of bloke things, aren't they, to do in this country anyway.
See, the thing is though, you know, to an awful lot of our audience, I am a man's man because I do watch football. I watch American football.
Yeah.
But I don't drink beer.
No.
But, you know, I think you're right. I'm certainly not a man's man.
No,
I certainly would not.
No, and I think it is a sort of a ladies type of place, because it's in...
I'll tell you what we should do in there.
It's very pretty, and there's lots of... Because it's like attached to this sort of home decor shop.
Yeah.
There's lots of pretty mirrors around and fairy lights, and you're looking at a sort of bank of greetings cards which are very pretty, and there's ornaments to look at, and that's why I say it was girly.
What we should do is we should definitely go back in there and do some knitting while we're having a cup of tea, because the clientele, they all look like knitters.
They did, they were older ladies, all the ones that were in there, I think.
But I've just been very, you know, typically English about my opinion of what knitters look like. But I bet you, honestly, that crowd
generally
would.
Still the case in this country, isn't it?
So they'd love it, wouldn't they, if we sat in there and knit and had a cup of tea? And, you know, it strikes me the type of place that you certainly wouldn't feel, you wouldn't get anyone looking at you strangely in there.
I don't think so, no.
You'd get people coming over and going, oh, what are you knitting?
Yeah.
So I'm 99% certain we've been to 3 places and they've all got 4 stars out of 5.
Oh, right.
And this is my point. But
well, we should have scored them out of 5 and added them all up, shouldn't we? And I think I said that to him at the beginning. And he said, no, we'll do stars.
Because it's different. We've never done that before. And restaurants tend to be rated in stars, don't they? I think the problem is,
but the problem
you're
is
too lovely. That's the problem.
That's absolutely not true. You might give somewhere a star and you might give another place a star, but one will be better than the other, won't it?
Yeah.
It's very cut and dried.
Now here's a question.
Maybe there should be like, each thing should have a number of stars, so it should be like out of 3 stars. So but then that's the same thing as scoring it.
Here is an interesting question. We're a quarter of the way through.
Right.
Would you believe it? It seems like we've only just started this and we're already a quarter of the way in. Where would you go back to immediately?
The one we just went to. Where
would you definitely not go back to?
Definitely not.
Yes.
I wouldn't definitely not go back to any of them.
Well, isn't that excellent? And that, you know, comes back and proves the point of independence way, way better than chains. For me, I wouldn't go back to Cuppa's.
Well,
because of the smell.
It smelt really bad because they did a lot of fried breakfasts, you know, and I think the smell of a place is a lot to do with the atmosphere, isn't it? And it smelt like a greasy spoon calf.
The thing is though, if you went
and I said calf because they're not cafes, are they, those?
If you went to Origins and couldn't get a seat, went to Fafano's and it had shut, you'd quite happily go to Cuppa's and have a cup and you wouldn't be upset about it.
The scone in Cuppa's was amazing, you know, and you had a choice of all those jams.
Now,
the tea wasn't the best in there.
No, it wasn't. I think that what will happen is, certainly so far, I think Fafano's will be the place that we end up going back to the most, and I'll tell you why. Because it's cheap and you're tight. No, that's not true. We will go to Origins and it will be full.
Full, yeah, that's
because
true.
It's not big enough.
It isn't very big, no.
So we'll go to Origins, we'll be like, we'll go for a cup of tea, Origins. No, I'll tell you what will happen. We'll go to Origins, it'll be full, we'll go, oh, just forget it, we'll go home. Because we'll be walking out of town.
Maybe so,
and we'll think, oh, we can't be bothered going back to Fafano's.
No.
So,
but there is the Imperial Express across the way.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
I don't know what they're like for tea.
Yeah, I'm not convinced.
It's a restaurant, isn't it? So I'm not convinced either.
No. But what fun this is, and I love the fact...
I get lots of tea and scones. Yes.
What I love about this is we set out with no agenda at all, and what we have proved categorically, unless it all goes downhill from here, which of course it won't, is that independence are king.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And on that happy note, we will say cheerio. We'll see you next month for another visit to somewhere else. Who knows where it may be? Will we be at the townhouse, which I think looks really nice?
Yeah.
Or will we be? I think we should definitely go to the Mocha, because they've got seats now.
Mocha?
In Richmond.
Oh, right.
We can go to Mocha. We can get the seats.
Go there.
And they're more than happy for us to film.
Yeah.
There's seats inside too.
Was there?
There's not very many.
I don't remember.
There's 2
seats. There's 2.
There is. No.
There's 2 seats.
There's 4 seats in total. There's 2 tables.
There's 2 tables.
Yes, yeah.
I don't remember.
There is. There's tables there. Gosh. But also as well.
But we're also going to go to Betty's.
in North Allerton, of course.
We're going to go to Betty's.
Yes.
Yes, don't worry, we will be going there.
I do think that we also should go to that one in the park.
Oh gosh, really?
Because we've got to have a low-scoring one.
No, we won't. No, we're not going there.
She's drawing the line.
In the park here, there's like a log cabin looking sort of place.
I think it would be termed a calf.
Yeah, and I mean you can get hot drinks, but it's like ice creams and bird food to feed the birds, you know, on the pond.
Tuppence a bag it is.
We go in there to get ice creams in the summer, but that's about it. I wouldn't go in for a cuppa.
Look. We will be back next month. Who knows where we'll be, but one thing we know for sure is it'll be fun. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you then.